I think one of the really amazing things that Birdville does, your program does, is that you go to Worlds. I think it's fascinating, and I know it's crazy competitive. You told me this is how many years you've gone?
This will be our fourth time to go
All right,
this year.
let's talk about it because I feel like that's something people need to realize that while it's a lot of work, it might be achievable for more programs that than are trying.
Yeah, it is a lot of work. It's a lot of red tape and paperwork and money. I will be honest about that.
Give me is it per kid or is it by a team entry fee or what?
So they charge per kid, which is where it starts to get more pricey. It's really entering the all-star studio world. So all-star dance is kind of its own animal separate from normal studio competition dance, and then you have the drill team public school world. So there's all these separate worlds, and I believe in just like, mixing them all up and throw it all up in the air and see what happens.
Now, when you say worlds, but at Worlds, the contest,
yes.
It is just the All-Star Studios.
Correct. Okay. So we have a studio that is at my home address.
Okay.
And so we just created our studio, and it's fine. It's completely legal and acceptable, but we created a studio. I just went ahead and used my home address for the studio, but we have to pay the annual fee to be a USASF, so that's United States All-Star Federation. That is the umbrella that is over Worlds and that competition circuit. And so we pay the fee to be a USASF accredited studio. And then Katie and myself do the coaches trainings. We have to pay the annual membership fee to be a part of USASF and do the coaches credentialing. So they're very big on student safety, as everyone should be. And so they want to make sure that all students are safe and that it's a safe environment at these competitions and at Worlds. So we have to be background checked and fingerprinted, and we do annual, just like you do your Safe Schools videos for public school, we do a whole nother set, which is Safe Sports for USASF.
Well, you know what? I'm only going to give them props for that.
Yeah. No,
considering what happened in our gymnastics world, how heartbreaking that was. Yay for them.
Yeah, and they're huge on the athlete safety and making sure that you as the coach know how you should be interacting with the kids, like you said with gymnastics, and also making sure that you're making safe choices in choreography. It is so competitive.
Say that one more time, because safe choices in the choreography. Mm-hmm. I want to shout that to the mountaintops.
Yeah, so it's when people find out that there's like kind of in a way no rules in the public dance in Texas competition circuit, it blows their mind when they're used to cheer competitions or the all-star dance world, because there are a lot of rules and they're all created for student safety, and every rule that they have about choreography, someone has been hurt before causing the rule. And deductions, for example, if you do an aerial with palms in your hands and a kid touches the floor with the palm, it's a deduction, because if they put a hand down trying to do an aerial with the palm, they're going to slip and hit their chin.
So they can do it, but it's going to be a deduction.
If no one puts their hand down, you're fine. So a lot of teams will have them put both palms in one hand right before they throw the aerial. So if that hand goes down, it's palm free, and then it's not a deduction, and then you just transition back.
Okay, I want our Texas people to start doing that.
It's a safer option. The dominant hand that they would put down if they don't throw their best aerial, you take the palm out of that hand so that if it hits the floor, they're safe and they land the now one-handed cartwheel. It's not a deduction because no palms touch the floor, and then you're back.
Oh, so smart.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of little nuances like that.
But necessary.
Yes, and it really all is for student safety, and they have a lot of rules and guidelines involving lifts, and any time a student is going upside down or in the air, you need to take safety precautions. And so learning that world has been interesting, but really knowledgeable, and I think helped us both grow as dance educators just in general. And I think our style of choreography has continued to evolve by being involved in Worlds and seeing what else is out there. Our students' motivation to improve has just continued to skyrocket because they realize how much better they can be and what else is out there beyond the competitions that we were just going to kind of within Texas before. So getting to Worlds, so we each have a profile. We do all the trainings that are necessary. Each of our students has an athlete profile, and so they have to pay an annual $30 fee to be a USASF athlete. and we have to like turn in proof of their age, so a driver's license or birth certificate or something, and each student gets an ID. You have to go to a qualifying competition, which is what helps keep Worlds so elite. So you have to go to another competition that hands out bids to Worlds. You can't just register for Worlds. So that's another fee because we're having to register for another competition, and they do registrations per individual. So instead of $300 for a dance, you're paying $160 per athlete that is in the dance.
Okay, so I know that some people just fell out of their chairs.
Yeah.
So do you fundraise for it? Do you get sponsors? How do you manage that?
So when we do choose to take students to Worlds, it's a conversation with the parents prior to that year and that decision. So we make sure the parents are on board for the extra money because it is going to be extra money if they're involved. But we do also use fundraising money and booster funds and stuff to help cover. So
I'm going to interrupt you. When you say 160 per child, is that per mover in the dance? Like if you did 3 dances, it's 160 times 3 per child,
each competition's a little different. So there's a bunch of different companies that can give out bids for Worlds. We like to go to Spirit Celebration because we like to try to get our bid early so that we can plan. We're those drill team director planners. We want our flights and our itineraries and all of that. And you can't start the registration process for Worlds until you have a bid.
Wow.
So we go to Spirit Celebration because it's in December. So if we can get our bid in December, that gives us plenty of time before Worlds in April. And at Spirit Celebration specifically, for their first routine, it's $160, and then if they're a crossover athlete, if they're in more than one routine, they're considered a crossover athlete, and that is an additional $25 for the second dance. So this year we're taking 9 girls in an elite ensemble in the senior small contemporary division, and then our 4 officers are also doing their officer jazz, hopefully at Worlds, bid pending. And so they have paid the extra $25 each for that second routine. But our entry fees for Spirit Celebration, our booster club, covered in their budget. Nice. So that wasn't extra money for those kids.
So you pay those. So that happens, and then once you get there, though, what is that like?
So when we compete first at Spirit Celebration, they have this year they have 3 bids total to give out. And so you have to be one of the top 3 scoring teams to receive those bids. And in the cheer world, they have fully paid bids, partially paid bids, and an at-large bid, which means you get to come, but you're going to pay full price. In the dance world, the dance worlds are smaller than the cheer worlds. They're not quite as big, so there's only partially paid and at-large bids. So the goal is to get a partially paid bid for one of the routines in which the competition company that you go through pays $325 per athlete towards their Worlds package. So you do get some money back if you are that top scoring group, which we have done before, so hopefully it's something we can do again. Once you receive the bid, then you have 48 hours to accept the bid and fax your paperwork to the Dance Worlds.
Wow, this is intense.
It's a very elite competition, and they do things right to keep it that elite. But it's really cool to be a part of. So once you accept the bid and you register, you just pick your package type and your hotel and your Disney tickets and everything. We usually just do the package through the Worlds.
So they've got even that part of it taken.
Yeah, it's all taken care of. You can be a commuter and just do Worlds and then stay off-site or do your own travel plans, but we usually just do the package through Worlds. It's a lot easier. And
it's always going to be, because everything's going to be fantastic.
So,
well, I want you to kind of conclude it with, since we talked about all the scary stuff, let's conclude with what's really amazing about being there.
So we keep going back because every time we go, it's such a great experience. It truly is a Worlds competition. There are teams from so many different countries. Everyone there is super supportive and encouraging. The athletes all talk to each other. You'll be backstage in the warm-up area, and you'll see teams from Japan and China and Mexico. I mean, just everywhere, Chile, and the athletes all just go up and talk to each other, and they cheer each other on even though they don't know each other or speak the same language. And it's just so cool to see the dance community from around the world really come together in such a positive atmosphere. So it's one of the most elite and hardest competitions ever, but it's also one of the most encouraging and uplifting. And so you just leave like refreshed. It's a really cool experience.